Hey there, car peeps of the internet. Welcome to another episode of Jodo Garage. Today we're going to be looking at some upholstery for the seats that came out of the Mach 1. In the accident, the airbags went off, so those covers had to be fixed anyway. And since we want to make it look nice, we figure, well, we want to upgrade to some leather seat covers. So those came in, and yeah, then I had some other ideas. We'll get right into it. You know, I always love the GT40 seats. The grommet look, it just looks racy. And yeah, since I have these covers off anyway, I figured why not make a nice pattern in there with grommets to make it look cool. So that's what we're gonna do next. So this is the seat out of the 22 Mach 1 at the aftermarket Recaros, which were pretty nice seats. However, we did blow the airbag, and so this upholstery would need to get fixed if we wanted to make this look nice. But what if we wanted to make it look even nicer? Then you get these leather aftermarket covers. Recaro, got the pass-throughs and everything just like the other covers. But of course in leather, much more comfortable, much nicer to look at. But then sometimes you just can't leave well enough alone. What do you do to make these even cooler? Well, grommets. I played around with a lot of different configurations, but I think the simplicity of 4 is what I'm gonna go with. And yeah, I had 6, I had 5, I had 3. 3 didn't seem to fill up the space enough. 5 and 6 seems a little bit busy, and I even had more than that. I had 8 per panel, 4 and 4, and I had 4 and 3 for 7. Just didn't look like that's what I wanted. So I think ended up with 4, and that's the layout I'm going to go with. So if we focus on the seat cushion here for a minute, we have a slight taper where this panel starts off at about 12 inches and it runs to about 11 inches for this last panel. So I think the easiest way for me to do this is just to mark the panels in the middle of each panel and then have the first one here and here, and then just go across so that I get that automatic taper from here to here for these 2 inner ones. I bought a wax pen, but that doesn't really make very clear markings on the leather, which is surprising because I thought that's what it was for. But nevertheless, we will continue eyeballing the center of this panel. Everywhere else. The thing about the tape, of course, is that it will be easy to remove, but it's super handy to get you going. Although admittedly, it doesn't seem to adhere all that greatly to the leather. So we make out with that. Problem, of course, is once you start moving this around, start making the holes and putting the rivets in, you still want stuff to stay in place. So now that we have these sort of where we want them, we can measure what the center of each panel is. So this panel, 5 1/4. So 5/8 right there, 2 5/8 right there, and go across. And that gives me the center line of this panel. I'll repeat that for the other ones. The panel is slightly bigger, 5.5, so maybe 2 3/4. And so now we have our bottom laid out here. We have our top laid out. Make the cross edges here, and I'll show you in a minute why I'm doing this. So the next step after this is you have to punch the holes through the leather. Now, because this spacing is a little narrower than that one, I did the top and the bottom one. Now I can line these up with each other. Then I can say that's where the other ones go, in the middle, and then they look nicely aligned. And then the next step is what I was trying to get at, is once you put the punch over the crosshairs, it's going to be hard to tell whether you are in the center or not. You really have to eyeball that. Since this is going to be very visual in the car, you want to make sure that that's right. So I figured out that my college drawing class gave me this. And I figured, okay, if I go here, this is 16mm, so I'll do a test one. See if my idea actually works. Make a 16mm hole here. And I should be able to set this right on there. Yeah, and then it's a perfect circle there for my punch. So I can set it on there. So next we're going to draw 16mm holes on all of these so that they're centered. And this actually has, for every hole, it has 4 holes here. So you can put those 4 holes on the crosshairs. That means that you're square onto the crosshair, and then your hole's also right where you want to be, obviously. "16 holes. Let's have a look what that looks like from a top view. All right, so you can see you got the crosshairs of the measurements that we took, and then when you put the crosshairs of the holes, which you can see, if you put those right over where they need to be, and then you make the circle, and then you always end up right where you need to be. So 4 panels, 4 holes, 16 holes in total. Next thing we got to do is make some noise. Not gonna lie, a little bit nerve-wracking. Are they gonna do something really good, or we're gonna really wreck something? So again, just put the punch right on the circles that we just made. A good hit, and circle comes right out. Got a nice circle there. Do the same thing again. This is not bad at all. This is working out just the way I was hoping. beauty. All right, so there's a tool that helps you accomplish this, and there's two parts to the grommet. The front side that's going to show, it's going to be right here, and then there's a backing ring that comes over top of it, and then there's a punch. The punch is right here. So the way it's going to work is we're going to flip this over, because this is the part that we want to be showing. This is going to go upside down through the fabric, put the ring on top of that, and then you got your punch. The punch goes in here, hit it a couple of times with the hammer, seals it in place. So the whole process is really not complicated. I think it's more of a, oh shit, I'm cutting into my brand new leather. Is this a good idea or not? So, as mentioned, we're going to put that upside down. I'm going to put the ring over top of it. I'm going to get the punch. Got to make sure that it stays in place on the bottom piece, and you can feel that too, because as the dowel goes in, the punch, it sits in the hole. So a couple of good blows, and you have a beautiful grommet. 15 more to go for the seat cushion. So again, put this in here. The next piece on top, and there's two sides. There's a hollow side, and there's a bubble side, if you will. So the bubble side goes on top, and then once again, put that in place. It really doesn't take a lot, but it goes pretty easy. For me, it's the first time ever working with grommets like this. So I always tend to look for challenges and do things that I haven't done before when I build these cars. And yeah, that's also the satisfying thing about it, is that when you do something new and it works out nice, then it's just another thing on your tool belt that you say, oh, next time if I want to do that, yeah, I can do that. I've done that before. I'm also hoping to show by doing this that, you know, this is not a scary thing to do on your own. That's quite nice. Backrest, the process is going to be very similar. However, I have one more idea that I wanted to do on the headrest and the backrest, I should say, versus the seat cushion. But those grommets haven't come in yet, so I'll be able to do that right now. That was the last grommet. Of the seat cushion. Now, as we can see, that turned out really nice. And the only other thing that we have to do is put some backing material behind here, because of course now you can see right through. So I'll find some black leather that we can glue behind here so that you won't see these holes. But you can see everything lines up perfectly in this direction, and everything lines up really nice in this direction as well. So we can say that that is a job well done. So move venues, too much noise making in the house. So move back out to the garage and we can make noise as much as we want. So same process. That was already the last one. So let's have a look what that looks like. Beautiful. Nice, right? Nice straight rows. Nice rows up and down. That looks beautiful. Show you guys somewhat what that will look like in the car. Seat bottom, seat back. Even got cup holders in the armrests. It looks pretty good. Pretty happy with that. And there is the next step in the backrest grommets. Put some 1-inch grommets right across the top here. There's a little bit of an accent piece, and there's one more step that comes after that. Eventually, this is what it will look like. Right now I just got a red blanket stuff behind it, but the red behind the 1-inch grommets is kind of a nod to the Mach 1 seats in the 69. Of course, the 68-7, 68 Mustang never had a Mach, but since I'm building it on a Mach 1 chassis, sort of a wink towards that. I think that'll look pretty cool. Got the covers securely stored in this cardboard box in my basement. I'm not going to use those for a while until the car is really built, and be one of the last things that I'll probably have done. Just because I don't want to get them damaged, and I'll use the seats as is. If something tears, then it's no big deal. Alright, so also an indicator for the next project. If you have any idea what this is, drop it below in the comments. See you on the next one.